The legend of Mel's Hole is a bottomless pit in Oddities County, Washington has an unknown depth. This pit resurrected the neighbor's dead dog after being thrown into the dark depths below. Welcome to my channel, Enlightenment in the Darkness. The legend of the bottomless hole started on February 21, 1997, when a man identifying himself as Mel Waters appeared as a guest on Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. Waters claimed that he owned rural property 9 miles west of Ellensburg in Oddities County, Washington, that contained a mysterious hole. According to Waters, the hole had an unknown depth. He claimed to have measured its depth using fishing line and a weight, although he still had not hit bottom by the time he reached 80,000 feet of line. He also claimed that his neighbor's dead dog had been seen alive sometime after it was thrown into the hole. The exact location of the hole wasn't specified, yet several people claimed to have seen it, such as self-described intertribal medicine man Gerald Osborne, also known as Red Elk, who told reporters in 2012 he visited the hole many times since 1961 and claimed the United States government maintained a top-secret base there where alien activity occurs. But the fishing line was only the beginning. In a claim reminiscent of Stephen King's 1983 horror novel and 1989 movie by the same name, Pet Sematary, Waters described an instance where his neighbor dropped the body of their deceased pet dog into the hole. The owner got the shock of their life when they saw their pooch alive and well in the nearby woods only a little while later. They recognized the dog because he wore the same collar, but the dog showed no signs of recognizing his owner and did not respond to his calls. While it may be a more desirable result than the grieving pet owner saw in King's Tale, Waters' claim was more than enough to terrify and enthrall listeners. In another claim, Waters revealed that Mel's hole had strange effects on some everyday objects. Metal objects like portable radios would react odd. In another claim, Waters revealed that Mel's hole had strange effects on some everyday objects. Metal objects like portable radios would react odd whenever they were near the opening of the 9-foot diameter hole. He recounted an instance where he brought his radio to the pit and set it to his favorite radio station, but instead of music, the radio put out strange, unknown voices and programs and music from the past. Waters described many of his experiments at the pit, and each one seemed to produce a more unsettling result than the last. In one of his final calls, Waters described lowering a bucket of ice down to 1,500 feet, and when he lifted it out, he noticed that the ice was warm but did not melt. He said it had changed into a flammable substance. The warm ice was not the only time that his experiments defied the laws of science. When he yelled down into the hole, he claimed there was no echo. There was also no sound after large trash items, such as refrigerators or television CRT tubes, were thrown into the pit to confirm that they had hit bottom. One of Waters' most disturbing claims involved lowering a live sheep into the hole to around 1,500 feet, as he did in the ice bucket experiment. The sheep shrieked and kicked on the way down, then suddenly went silent. When Waters lifted it out, he found that the animal had been cooked. The sheep had also developed a strange lump, which, to his horror, started to move. He cut it open and found a fetal seal that he said gazed at him with intelligent, human-like eyes. Waters went on to add that the creature miraculously cured his cancer. It jumped back into the hole but was seen later by local sheep herders who claimed it radiated a benevolent presence. This chilling story may explain why Waters' dogs refused to come within 100 feet of the hole and why birds never sat on its stone retaining wall or metal cover. The many strange occurrences that Waters recounted were not limited to items he lowered into the hole. Sometimes, mysterious things would come out of it too. Waters described a disturbing report from one of his neighbors who had seen a blacker-than-black beam of light coming from the cursed pit. He explained it as the light of a flashlight that threw out a beam of solid black instead of the standard whitish hue. Black is easily one of the most ominous colors that could come from a mysterious pit, as it is often associated with evil, death, and emptiness. The talk of Mel's hole eventually got big enough that the federal government caught wind of it. As Waters recounted in a later call, he was heading toward the hole one day when a man in a suit approached him and said that the area had been closed off due to a plane crash. The man told Waters that he was no longer allowed near the pit. Waters described seeing men in biohazard suits standing behind him. Soon after, the government leased the land and gave him a generous amount of money to vacate the property. Waters accepted the money and moved to Australia. The addition of a government conspiracy significantly increased interest in the urban legend. Waters claimed he had come back to Washington 2 years after moving to Australia, despite a warning from the government not to return. He said police officers removed him from a bus and left him on the streets of San Francisco 2 weeks later. He had 4 marks on his arm, several missing teeth, and no memory of what transpired. Waters managed to continue to his hometown but felt that menacing strangers were stalking him. He was told his land had been taken over by the government and found the region had been erased on an early mapping system called TerraServer. So what are your thoughts about Mel's hole and the government conspiracy theories? Please feel free to comment your thoughts below. I would like to thank you for joining me here today on my channel, Enlightenment in the Darkness. Please like and subscribe to my content. Many blessings to the rest of your day.